what are some comparisons that you have maybe seen in video game journalism and wrestling journalism? And then what are some of the biggest differences?
Hey guys, this is Tempest from Wrestle Talk, and I'm reminding you to support Tom Talks Rubbish.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Tom Talks Rubbish, and today I'm back with another interview. This time, I'm joined by Cresta STARR from Fightful.com. So welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure to talk wrestling with another wrestling aficionado.
I wouldn't go quite that far, but I appreciate that. So if we take this back, where do you first discover wrestling?
So I'm an old fan, a lapsed fan, come back again with a new revigored fan. I was watching wrestling since Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior were beefing. I was watching wrestling since then. Yeah. I stopped watching wrestling, I want to say like around the time Stone Cold had just got his neck injury. He had just transitioned into backstage. He was yelling, "What?" all the time. And I want to say it was like 2001, 2002. I could be wrong. Maybe even as late as 2008. I got to get my times together. But then I stopped watching. 2018, I was hanging out with my little brother, and he had on Raw one night, and because he's been an avid wrestling fan, he's been watching it since the dawn of time. He had on Raw, and Nia Jax was wrestling, and I had never seen a woman like her wrestle since back in the days when it was like bra and panties, people slapping each other. Then to see this woman who was like manhandling people, I was like, what is happening here? And then he's like, yeah. And then Ronda Rousey was out. I was like, what is happening here? And I've been hooked ever since. Specifically Money in the Bank 2018. I've been hooked ever since.
Is that the one where Alexa Bliss cashes in on the Nia Jax Ronda match? Yeah,
yes.
I know.
Yes.
So, sort of breaking it down a little bit, what was it that drove you away back in the day?
It was nothing wrestling did personally. I'm secretly old. I had just turned 18. I had got a job. So it's like, do you want to stay home and watch wrestling, or do you want to go out and make money? So it's just one of those things. I was like, I can live without it. And it wasn't something I was keeping up with. And I wasn't really keeping up with TV shows. I was more of a gamer myself, rating and World of Warcraft. I was doing all these other nerd things. I was like, wrestling just wasn't on the plus. I felt as to keep up with it, kind of like a TV show. So it wasn't anything wrestling did personally. I was just like, honey.
Okay. So obviously you said that you stopped watching around, we think 2001.
It was like 2001. Just graduated junior high school, so that couldn't have been it. So it had to be like 2004, 5, somewhere within that time frame. Like John Cena had just came out. I don't think he had did his Ruthless Aggression promo. No, he did do his Ruthless Aggression promo. Stone Cold was still backstage, and that's where it tapers off. I know those two things had just happened. It was somewhere between that time.
It could be like end of 2002, beginning of 2003.
Okay. See, and you said you weren't an aficionado. The lies.
No, I just have a weird brain that sort of like remembers things, like, if that makes sense. Anyway, but
yeah,
what is something that you've gone back and watched from, say, the time that you stopped to 2018 and been like, oh, I wish I was watching during this time?
So you lagged a little bit, but I think you said is where something that I went back and watched and was like, wow, I wish I was watching at this time, because I have a bunch of moments for that.
Yes.
CM Punk's pipe bomb. That was wild to me. AJ Lee wrestling, period. Oh my God, that woman is a spider monkey. Paige coming to the main roster and winning. I wish I was watching wrestling when The Miz and Daniel Bryan were beefing for real, for real. When the Yes movement was going on. I wish I was watching that. I wish I was there live to be in the moment, because you can look back at it now, but I cannot imagine what it felt like when CM Punk sat down and did that pipe on being a fan, watching it with your friends like, that must have been crazy. And even though I don't care, I will take the heat for this. What a time to be alive when Enzo Amore was wrestling and delivering those promos. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I agree with you. Enzo had some good stuff, but you have to appreciate that he had a load of, I can swear on my channel, he had a load of shit as well. You have to.
Yeah. You're like, I can't imagine being a wrestling fan. It's like, wow, this guy can talk. Seeing him not being able to wrestle, still getting over just being a wrestling fan, then I would be like this the whole time.
Yeah. Totally.
What a time to be alive.
If we reverse the question, what is something that you've gone back and maybe watched and then been like, I'm glad I wasn't a fan during this period?
Anything I've gone back and watched where I was like, I'm glad I wasn't a fan during this. Oh, now that I'm covering Impact, the quote unquote downfall of Impact. I will say that I wish I watched the Aces and Eights up until like the end with Bully Ray and Brooke Hogan. But then I heard the storyline after that was stop.
Yeah, no. As someone that was watching during that time, yeah, I agree.
Like, I've heard stories, I've seen clips. I was like, you sometimes just gotta see it to the end. Sometimes you gotta see it to the end.
Yeah. So then you talked about covering wrestling now. So you started in video games, correct? Was that to create them, or was that like video game journalism?
So it started off with streaming, morphed into video game journalism, and I had always been doing clips and reactions to League of Legends World or esports or StarCraft or FGC fighting games or any sort of those things. When I was hanging out with my little brother and we were speaking about or we were watching wrestling, I had started just taking the videos and putting it on my social. And my little brother was like, that's funny. The video that started it all was Ronda Rousey's makeup. Like, you're the baddest woman on the planet. Why is your makeup from here to here?
Is this when she had that pink makeup?
No, it was some red black thing that went from eyelid to eyebrow all the way out. And I watch a lot of drag. So I was like, what are these garage doors? They did you dirty, girl. I'm like, look at her.
Savant memories come back again, but I remember what that was from. Survivor Series, where she faced Charlotte.
Yes, and there was also one where she was in Hell in a Cell with Sasha Banks, and her makeup was terrible then. And I was just like, oh, how did nobody in the back is like, yo, sis, this is not even war paint. And it was just a meme. It was a joke, like how you joke with your friends, haha, kiki, whatever it is. And people were like, yo, listen, Ronda Rousey could probably beat me up too, but I agree.
Yeah, totally.
Spiraled out of control on there. And then one video in particular with me just shit posting, as you will, about when Edge first came back and Randy hit him with a concerto. That was my first view on TikTok that got 1 million views, and it just exploded from there because people think that wrestling's real.
Yeah. Elaborate on that, please.
So when I react to wrestling, I'm reacting as someone who's in the moment. I'm a fan. I love the storylines. I love, but people who are like, wrestling is fake, right? They'll come across my content who are like, oh my God, she thinks this is real. And it's literally in my mind, like, wow, you guys have worked yourself into a shoot, brother. And I just laugh because you're hate watching it, but you're like, wow, she really thinks this is real. I wonder who's going to tell her it's fake. I'm like, you got, and it's just, it blew out of control where I wanted to know more. I wanted to know back scene. I wanted to know, like when you really like something and you become obsessed and then you just peel back the curtain and you're like, yikes. However, how can I help? How can I improve? You can't just critique and then not offer any improvements or just be a jerk about it. You know what I mean? So that's why I really got into like, it's fascinating how wrestling is and what we see as a fan versus all the work that goes into it. It's fascinating. And that's what really made me take the journalism step from video games into professional wrestling. Any chance I had, I'm like, you want to talk about wrestling? Because I will preach the gospel.
Yeah. What are some comparisons that you have maybe seen in video game journalism and wrestling journalism? And then what are some of the biggest differences?
I will say the similarity is that wrestling and video games, it's a Venn diagram that's almost a circle. Chances are, if you like wrestling, you probably like video games. And chances are, if you like video games, you probably like wrestling. If you are someone who likes good storylines, there's a game, there's a wrestler, there's a storyline for you. If you're someone who likes action, high flyers, flip-de-doos, depending on your age, there is a game and a wrestler for whatever your passion is. There's a big sense of community. I will say that overlaps with video games and wrestling. There's a lot of passionate fans, some disingenuous, but there's a lot of people in the community who, if you decided that you like Liv Morgan or you like Will Ospreay or you like whoever it is, you will follow them until the end of time, unless they do something really messed up. And even then people will do mental gymnastics and be like, well, whatever. And then there are people who you're like, I want to see you win. They keep doing you dirty and I want to see you win. So when they win, you're crying in the stands. There's something for everything. I will say the biggest difference is, even though video games get heated and whatnot, the tribalism in wrestling is beyond.
Oh, I hate tribalism.
Beyond.
I hate it.
I don't like it because it's like, at the end of the day, it's pro wrestling. Support pro wrestling. It doesn't matter if you're at WWE, AEW, Impact, New Japan. Support pro wrestling because they're all trying to live their dream, no matter where it is. Don't be like, well, this sucks or that sucks. It's okay to have a fair critique. But again, if you're going to critique and complain, what is something that people can do better instead of you just jaw jacking? So
I agree. And then how's your journalistic style maybe changed since you are now covering video games? How is your style? Since you're now covering wrestling, how has your style changed from when you were covering video games?
I will say, when I was doing video games, it was more of a, this is the research, this is what needs to be done, this is this, cut, concise. With wrestling, there is a way to be honest, fair, and be in on the joke.
Yeah.
The best way I could describe it is like, I'm more of a personality now who will give you nuggets and kernels of truth, rather than someone who's going to say, well, I know this, I know that, I know this, because I think there's a certain level of respect and ethics that you have to have when you are at that peak level. And I want to be there. I think that I'm doing a good job while delivering the news in a funny, memey way. Maybe it's a fresh way. So that's why so many people, in my opinion, gravitate towards me. But I respect people like Sean Ross Sapp and Dave Meltzer. No matter how much shit people give these two people, these men do their work. And wrestling is a changing, evolving ecosystem and being. So when they get it wrong, remember, they're not in the writer's room. They have to do what you can't do successfully, which is talk to someone. You know what I mean?
Put their ear to the ground almost.
Exactly. So like one day, hopefully, maybe, but if not, I love professional wrestling so much that if I ever become like a Beyonce or something like that, I want to help wrestling in any way I can, because it's given me so much. Like, just as a fan, I cannot imagine, working.
Fair enough. So, and then you brought up Sean there. So how did you connect with Fightful and start doing the Impact reviews?
I wish I had some big grandiose story. I really do. But one of my good friends, Akinola, he tagged me and Sean Ross Sapp looking for someone to do Impact stuff. Now, I watched at the time loosely a few Impact things here or there, and I knew what was going on with the story. And I had just spoken to Ack the other day. He was like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I literally slid in his DMs. I was like, hey, I heard you looking for a host. Here's my reel. Here's my stats. Here's my resume. And he really just said, I was already looking at your stuff. So if he was going to DM it, he was like, I died. I had to scream in my bathroom and come back like the adult. Why, thank you, sir. I cannot wait to speak with you.
Yeah. That is so cool. It's obvious. It's obvious you still have a massive passion for wrestling because you're so young in the journalism game. Have you put anything in place to keep that fandom and passion of wrestling alive on days that you're like, oh, I've done so much wrestling or watched so much wrestling? Have you put stuff in place to avoid like burnout or a loss of passion? And that was a very wordy question. I do apologize.
I got you. I've experienced burnout with streaming and with video game journalism. And now with wrestling, even I'm soaking in so much, I put a stop on what I watch. I like NXT. I don't watch NXT because then that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm going to burn myself out. Even if so I also stream on Twitch, my reactions to Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. While I do cover Impact, I don't stream that so I can just focus on the wrestling. Because when you're streaming, you got to be a character and all that good stuff. So in order to stop burnout, if I feel like I am too tired to watch wrestling, I do not force myself. I will watch Fightful. I will watch support. I will watch Vulture, but I will not watch wrestling. And it's not because I don't want to see. It's because to watch so much wrestling over and over and cover, sometimes it can be a lot, especially when you've seen a lot of the same storylines and you're like, come on, bro. What is this? Why am I watching 3 hours, the longest 3 hours of my life? It's not worth it. Take a break. Mental health is very important. And I always remind myself, while you are getting paid, you are not getting paid like these people are getting paid. Take a break. Step away from the PC, the TV. Step away.
Yeah, totally. So, and then have you got to the point yet where it's like, okay, this is starting to affect my fandom working in it? Or is it almost like there's still the giddy of almost like, wait, I get to do this for work?
I am still in that phase where I get to do this for work. This is the bee's knees. Bees don't even got knees, and this is the bee's knees. I gotta tell you, even if it's not a real life flex, to me, in my mind, this is a flex. You know what? You did that.
At the end of the day, Sean probably spoke to loads of people to get him to do Impact reviews, and he chose you. So at the end of the day, that does deserve some kudos.
Period. I agree. And it's I've seen so many talented content creators. I will never take away from somebody else's shine. There's enough space in wrestling for all of us. There's enough promotion and everything for all of us. So I try to take it, but I'm still trying to stay humble. But sometimes on the inside, I'm like,
yeah. I totally understand what you mean. So if we move on to your co-host, which is Joel Pearl, correct?
Mm-hmm.
How did you two first connect? Was that sort of a thing where it was like, okay, you and Sean was like, you're going to be working with, was it that sort of thing?
Very that. Yeah, he was like, hey, you're going to be working with Joel. It'll be on Thursdays. And me and Joel spoke before, I think, our first show on Wednesday. Lovely guy. So sweet and so easy to get along. He's literally I would say if he is JR, I'm the king, but not that guy. Like that guy, but not that guy.
I know exactly what you mean by that as well. Oh, dude, that's funny.
And I love it because he's so knowledgeable. And it's someone like him keeps me on my toes. I wish I had the knowledge that he has, and I listen to him talk, and I'm writing notes while we're talking. I'm like, yeah, because everyone's a learning experience. And he is so knowledgeable. 10 out of 10. Hashtag Joe Star.
I love Joe. Joe's great. So, what is something he's taught you about content creating?
If anything, he's taught me patience. Just relax. Because either it's all going to go on fire or it's not. And if it does go on fire, We'll deal with the fire. He's very patient. Even when I'm like, I'm not sure, he's like, no worries. And if we loop it back into wrestling and video games, I will say that is something specifically within the Impact community that I really enjoy, that everyone who, for the most part, who likes Impact Wrestling is like, come here. We just want you to like Impact. We want you to like wrestling. Come here.
Yeah.
And they're more likely to teach you like, hey, that's not a step up in security, that's a kip up, or this is that. Where unlike other promotional fan bases, and sometimes a lot of the time video games, oh my God, you're stupid. You didn't know that already? Oh my God, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
It's like, like I just got here, bro.
Fair enough. You sound so enthusiastic on camera, but like, is that you turned up to 11? And then what is like your process for being on camera to like get in the zone?
I had to be honest with myself because when I was younger, I was like, I want to be famous. And people like, that's so dumb. That's dumb. And people will crap and shit all over your dreams. Yeah. However, now I get to do what I love. I get to talk to people about what I love. And I'm going to be nine times out of 10, I'm at 1,000. Yeah. There's a joke in there about manic depressive, and I'm manic all the time.
Fair enough.
Living fast and loose. But it's like, if I have the chance to be on camera, why not be entertaining? Why am I going to be dull and boring? And I'm typically like this 90% of the time, unless I'm sad. And then I'm like, I'm in a cave, I'm a ball, go away. But this is me 90% of the time, unless I blow my voice box. So I'm always going to be animated. And again, as someone who still streams, you don't want to watch someone and be like, damn, this person boring.
Yeah. I get what you mean. I was just curious. So like, how do you get into that zone if you're going to stream, or like on the days?
Vitamin water, caffeine, baby.
Seriously.
Vitamin water, energy. Yo, Glacier, whoever owns it, I will be a sponsor. I drink so much of that.
Fair enough. So as we look at wrapping this up, because I do want to be respectful of your time, we're going to go into a segment now that I call generic questions. For those people that have seen my videos before will know, this is where I ask my guests their favorite wrestling match, favorite pay-per-view, favorite tag team, favorite wrestler or superstar, and their favorite theme song of all time. Basically questions that I'm sure they get asked on social media a lot. And then now they'll have a place to be like, look, I've answered this, man. Go watch this, please. Yes. So what's your favorite match of all
time? My favorite match, I've got two. The most recent one being Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. These women put on an amazing match. And as a Black woman, that was phenomenal to see.
I'm curious to know, before you go on to your second one, I saw a lot of criticism of them crying before the match. So what is your thoughts on that? Because I was okay with it.
I was okay with it too. It's like, imagine being a kid growing up. Let's say you were the kid with green hair, and everyone every day said the kids with green hair don't do nothing with their lives. They suck. You then see a wrestler on TV with green hair tearing it up, being the best. So you want to be a wrestler with green hair. You manage to be a wrestler with green hair in the same match with someone else with green hair. It's a full circle moment. I got it. I appreciated it. You seeing yourself on TV to then be on TV with someone you look up to, or someone you at least mutually respect, that's an amazing moment. And you don't know how you're going to feel when you're overcoming emotion. Some people like, let's go. Some people cry. And I understand. I would cry too. It's like, yo, I'm an avid music fan. If I got a piano lesson from Stevie Wonder, I would cry. I would cry. Yeah. I know he can't see, but I would cry.
Yeah, I do get what you mean. I was just genuinely curious to know what you meant.
Nah, you good. Understandable.
So
my second, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what's your second match then?
My second favorite match growing up would be anytime Stone Cold beat up Vince McMahon. There was one, I don't remember if this was a pay-per-view, but Vince McMahon had on his gray sweatshirt. He wasn't real big. He still had his dad white shoes. And Stone Cold is literally in the ring for like a good 10 minutes. Was like,
this wasn't in a cage, was it?
I feel like it was, or it might not have been. I know he's been beating up Vince McMahon like that for quite some time.
If it was in a cage, it was Valentine's Day Massacre.
That might be it, but like honestly, the Vince McMahon Stone Cold arc, even looking back at it now, is beautiful poetic justice.
Because it still works. A lot of the Attitude Era doesn't age well, but that still ages okay. Do you know what I mean?
Chef's kiss, yes, absolutely.
Definitely. Favorite pay-per-view of all time?
Favorite pay-per-view of all time. I like the idea of Royal Rumble and in a close second, Hell in a Cell. I like the idea of the Rumble. Always the entrances are fantastic. The surprise entrances for the most part, fantastic. Hell in a Cell, not in recent years, but Hell in a Cell used to be an amazing blow off. Really used to be like, I'm sick of you. I don't care what this is for. I want to beat you up.
Definitely. If you're looking for a good recent one, can I recommend this isn't recent, but it's like Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton from 2017, I think. Okay,
I'll look it. I'm a sponge. Give me that.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. And then favorite wrestler or superstar of all time?
Stone Cold Steve Austin
and
China.
I knew that was coming.
I love Stone Cold Steve Austin. I love Stone Cold Steve Austin because that's the bottom line. That's the bottom line.
I'm starting to understand why you fell away in 2003 because he retired.
I mean, there were other good storylines, but you know, money talks. Money talks.
Fair enough. Favorite tag team of all time?
My immediate thought is the Hardy Boys.
Oh dear.
But that would be a lie because I love the Dudley Boys. But after my reintroduction properly to FTR and the Briscoes, I don't know how to answer that.
I've still not
know how to answer that. Listen, I used to be a professional FTR hater. I'm not ashamed. I'd be like, when they were on WWE, I was like, these guys, why do they got to cheat all the time? I guess they're decent enough. That match, even when they went to AEW, I was like, they don't got to really do all of that. That match with them versus the Briscoes, I'm a believer. I'm a gospel. I am the living, breathing human personification of a hater is just a confused fan. FTR is so good. They are so good. And the Briscoes are so good too. It's like, I can't believe I ever thought that you guys were just okay. It's me. I'm the fraud.
Fair enough. And then as we wrap this up, favorite theme song of all time?
Okay. I'm going to I don't even have sunglasses, so y'all just going to stone me. It used to be Hulk Hogan, I'm a Real American, because that song goes hard for no reason. But then Hulk Hogan turned out to be racist.
Yeah.
So now I gotta say, with as much success that it has brought me, it'll be Mr. Cody Rhodes. I don't even know the name of the song because I literally just sing on my TikTok, Adrenaline in My Hole. My new name is Cody Rhodes.
I know which song you meant. I think it's called Wrestling Has More Than One Royal Family. I think.
It's something like that. Or Kingdom. It's Kingdom. It's called Kingdom. Kingdom.
Right. And then as we wrap this up, the question that I end all my interviews on is with wrestling, with YouTube, with social media, with podcasting, and just social media in general. We're all sort of going to live forever in some sort of way. So what is one video or podcast in your case that you want the good people to check out? And then what is one that you're like, if you could delete that from the spear, I would appreciate that.
That was the look of my mom told me never to say anything mean about anybody else because there's a few wrestling podcasts with poo-poo tape.
No, your videos. Your videos.
Oh. So you should definitely check out myself and Joel Pearl on Thursdays. This is like my first real gig. So I'm feeling the fantasy. I am welcome to hearing more about wrestling with enthusiastic fans. So check that out on Fightful after Impact on Thursdays. And something personally from me that you should check out. I am very proud of the submission video that I did for G4 when they were looking for co-hosts. So if you go to my YouTube, YouTube, Cresta STARR. You'll see it. It's there. I am very proud of it. It took me 2 days to write, edit, and shoot. And I was very proud of that. I was writing on the spot. Bonus points if you knew me when I played trombone, look up me playing at Carnegie Hall. So, fun fact.
Fair enough. So then, as we wrap this up, where can the good people find you, Cresta?
Hi, everyone. My name is Cresta STARR. Thank you so much for watching me, and I love you for watching wrestling. You can follow me on Instagram at Cresta STARR, Twitter, Cresta the Star, so CRESTATHEESTARR. On TikTok, Cresta STARR React, so it's CRESTASTARRREACTS, or you can look up regular Cresta STARR. That's my personal one with just me shit posting. Anywhere else is going to be Cresta STARR the regular way, except for Twitter, like I said. I think that's it. Yeah, I think I got it. Yeah.
And then for people that don't know, they can find your show with Joe on Fightful.
Yes, on Fightful and YouTube. Oh, also forgot to mention, you can find me on twitch.tv/Cresta STARR as well, if you're trying to get these live yucks.
It's well worth doing, guys. So if you guys like this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Tom Talks Rubbish. Follow me on Twitter at Tom Talks Rubbish. Follow bodyslam.net for my show with Cassidy Haynes, the Wrestle Watch podcast. Follow the Wrestle Watch podcast on Twitter. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.